What is up, YouTube? Hello and welcome to another skillup.gg video. At SkillUp, we spend thousands of hours trawling YouTube for the best quality gaming tutorial videos so that you don't have to. Check out our database over at www.skill-up.gg. In today's video, we're going to be taking a look at how gear works in the Division beta, which is currently available on the PC, Xbox, and PS4. More than likely, this system will not be substantially revised before the game's release on March 4th, so these tips are likely going to be just as valuable at that time. As always, if you like this video, please remember to like and subscribe as it helps us out in a big way. So, what are we going to cover? First thing we're going to cover is the number one source of loot in the beta, and that is vendors. We'll cover every single vendor you're able to buy from, and even some that you can't. Next up, we'll talk about the sort of loot you might expect to find during different types of missions, as obviously loot drops are going to be one of the big ways that you gear up. Finally, we're going to be talking about Dark Zone loot crates and why they are so damn good. Follow these tips and you'll be maxing out your gear during the beta in no time. So, first up, vendors. The Division, it has plenty of them, so let's break them down. If you're playing the beta, the first vendor that you're going to see is actually in the starting area, where you land in your helicopter after the opening sequence. These vendors are in fact the same vendors that you'll meet later in the game when you reach your base of operations. And since you don't have any money and you're already equipped with better items than what they are selling, you can pretty much skip these guys for now. The next vendors you're likely to meet will be at your base of operations, which will quickly unlock if you go straight to the base of operations from the starting zone when you begin. Your base of operations actually has three vendors, one for weapons, one for gear or armor, and one for mods. These vendors sell very basic green gear with a low chance of selling blue quality items. Now what's really important to note is that their stock actually rotates, and it does so quite quickly. If you check the top left corner of the menu when viewing a vendor, you'll see how long it is until they get new stock in. So if you're chasing something they're currently selling, make sure you check out how long it is until it goes on rotation, and don't delay for too long. The next vendor we'll meet on the way is in the Dark Zone, or at least on the way into the Dark Zone. The Dark Zone vendor sells excellent green, blue, and purple items, but does so in exchange for Dark Zone credits, which you earn for completing tasks in the Dark Zone. And you can only spend these credits if you have the requisite Dark Zone rank, which you again earn by completing tasks in the Dark Zone. Also note that much like your base of operations vendor, the Dark Zone vendor also rotates their stock periodically, so be sure to watch out for that. Now I want to be really clear and say that the Dark Zone entrance vendor is by far and away your best path to quickly gearing up your character in the beta. The currency and rep is actually surprisingly quick to get, and the items that you get are really fantastic. If you're keen to invest the time in the beta, you cannot do any better than grinding out Dark Zone items. Speaking of which, there's one more vendor that we haven't spoken about, and that's a vendor inside the Dark Zone itself, in a special location called the Safe House. If you wander around the map long enough, you should find the Safe House marked pretty quickly, and in there you'll find a lone vendor selling two high-end items at considerable cost, with Dark Zone rank requirement of 12. Needless to say, these are some pretty amazing items, and again, if you want to make the most out of the beta, be sure to chase down these weapons ASAP. So, how else do we gear up in the Division, you ask? Well, drops of course, but it's important to understand how drops work, particularly as it relates to mission difficulty. See, missions are offered to you at the default level, but if you open your map and press the right button, depending on what you're playing, you're able to change the mission difficulty. Doing so will make the mission significantly more challenged, but will also increase the chance that the end boss drops blue quality items or better. So once you get to the right level and you've got the right amount of gear under your belt, don't be afraid to up the difficulty setting in order to increase your chance at sweet loot drops. Now there's one more way to gear up in the beta, and that's through Dark Zone loot crates. See, as you journey through the Dark Zone and complete tasks, you're likely to find a number of Dark Zone keys. These keys can be used to unlock various crates that you find throughout the Dark Zone. These crates have different levels and rank requirements on them, so you're not always going to be able to open them. And apparently a number of them are actually bugged in the beta as well, so you won't be able to open those at all. When you do open these crates, you'll find an item or items similar to the level or rank of that crate, with a fairly high chance of those items being a rare or better item. So that's it for gearing up in the beta, but to quickly recap, number one, your base of operations vendor can sell some decent items, but watch the clock to make sure that they don't disappear. Number 2, your Dark Zone vendor sells amazing, great gear, so grind hard and you shouldn't have a problem getting the required currency and rep for those. Number 3, your Safe House vendor sells some pretty amazing high-end weapons. Grab these as soon as you can. Number 4, do missions at a higher difficulty level to earn better loot. And number 5, cruise around the Dark Zone unlocking crates with keys to get access to some pretty decent drops. Follow these steps in the beta and you're sure to get the most out of it pretty quick smart. We here at Skill Up are really loving the Division and we can't wait to get our hands on the full game in March. Until then, we'll keep putting out regular Division content, so don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks all, and see you over at skillup.gg.